Welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. This is a channel where I primarily look at Pokemon cards, focusing mainly on the artwork, but other aspects of collecting. The reason I'm doing this video today is, and here's the set that we're looking at, which is FireRed LeafGreen from August of 2004, the 21st set, is that someone had commented on a video of mine that was looking at this set before that I'd made several years ago. And I hadn't seen the video for a long time. Went back and looked at it and thought, God, this is really, really bad. The lighting was terrible. My commentary was very negative, uninterested, perhaps. So what I'm going to do is remake the video, delete the old one, so it's not there anymore, and try and put a more positive spin on this set, which is a very nice set from the EX era. Comparable in a lot of ways to what they did with 151 in 2003. I think it was 2003. In that it's revisiting Generation 1 Pokemon, which are always very popular. Came out in about the same time as the video games for FireRed LeafGreen, which was, again, a return to looking at Generation 1. And as with 151, they commissioned the same artist to do a whole evolution line. So you'll have the same artist doing Marowak and Cubone, for example. But because the layout back then was done in order of the card numbering of the set was done in order of holos first, then rares, then uncommons, etc., and then done alphabetically within those, you're not going to get them next to each other, unfortunately. That's fine. That's fine. Back then we had far fewer artists working. These days you can get up to 100 artists in a set, but back then it was really about 12 regular artists that were working for Pokemon. So you'll get a lot of Sugimori, for example, or Harada, or whatever. So what I'm going to do is just have a quick look at the set to start with. So these are the holos that go through till Victory Bell. I'll look at individual cards afterwards, but we're just looking at the layout of the set. The rares go from Arcanine through to Tangela here. Then we have uncommons, which come all the way through to Wigglytuff. Yeah. And then we have commons, which in some instances we've got doubles of things. So there's 2 Bulbasaurs and 2 Charmanders. But generally there is only 1 of each. And not every Generation 1 Pokemon is in this set, but they are all exclusively Gen 1 Pokemon. So we have the commons going through here. And it ends with the Weedle here. And then we have a number of trainers. I'm not going to talk about the trainers really in any sense because they are very, very dull back then. Not just, I mean, there's nothing inspiring to talk about with the trainers. This is a nice card, obviously. VS Seeker, very playable card. And those are just some duplicates at the end there. So we'll come back to here. That's the end of the main set. I'll look at the EXs and secret rares and stuff in a moment afterwards. But what I'm going to do now, I think, is bring the camera in a bit. We'll leave the set as the backdrop. But I just want to look at a few of the cards more closely. So let us, well, take Butterfree out, for example. The holo pattern is a Cosmos holofoil, and the reverses had this, unique to this set, this sort of scattered pattern of varying sizes, different energy symbols. I didn't particularly like this. I thought it was too random. It just looks messy to me. And the holo reverses and the rare reverses have also got this Pokeball etched into behind the text, which also has the holo pattern coming through. So this is Atsuka Nishida doing Butterfree. Quite nice. Let's have a look at a couple of other holos. I like this Nidoking. And this is by Nakamura. yeah, I think that's a very dramatic piece of artwork. I like the fact the camera is on ground level, and it's nice layout of the card. It's cartoony style, quite like Koiki Saito actually in a lot of ways. But the pen line on it is very good. Let's just have a look at a random holo, see whether I've kept them in decent enough condition. Hopefully they're not scratched up, but forgive me if there's any scratches on here. Yeah, we'll look at some of the EXs perhaps in close-up detail like that. But some of these cards I'm not particularly fond of because they're by artists whose work doesn't really interest me. I really don't like, for example, Harada, I'm afraid. There are people who like Harada, so these are both Harada. And I think this Kimura's Kangaskhan is a bit disappointing, given that I really like Kimura. But I think it's a little bit bland. There's just... what is really going on in this card? I mean, the background is just some waves of colour. And Kimura is so good on backgrounds, it just seems a shame that there isn't anything really going on there. Also, I don't like the way that the baby Kangaskhan here doesn't distort the line of the pouch, as it were, so it doesn't really feel like it's truly there. It's just, it looks two-dimensional. Right, that's enough of that page. Let's have a look over here. So yeah, even the this is not a holo rare. That's the reverse. So Arcanine as a rare looks like that. A very stock art piece of Sugimori artwork. But then you've got this. I really don't like this holo. It's just too messy. Too messy. It's interesting, but it's, you know, they did it for this one set, and although they did something similar in another set, which was more regimented, this randomness of size and placement is just doesn't really, in most instances, feel right to my eyes. They really got their act together for reverse holos later in the EX era when they started putting the logos in and doing interesting things like the Pokeball reverses and stuff. Nice bit of Himeno artwork on the Snorlax. I mean, there's the typical Himeno solar flare. You know, she does this arc of light with little dots in a lot of her cards of this era. But the lighting in this is very nice. So that's the Snorlax. And this is Kusajima, Hajime Kusajima. More graphic cartoon style this. I like that a lot. I think that's very nice. And Koiki Saito doing... Sorry, I keep saying it's Koiki Saito. It's not. It's Himeno again. But I think that's very, very nice. Yeah, she was doing a lot of... You've got these the circles again here. She was doing a lot of these odd framing, you know, tilting it so that everything's sort of at an angle. Some of them are very extreme around this period, but it's a nice artwork. So, and Komiya here. I'm not going to disrespect Komiya in this video. Kusube doing Cloister. I mean, she did a lot of very dark cards, especially around this period. She was really exploring how much black she could put into a card. I think that's a really nice Cloister. Very ominous. So let me see what I can see on the next page that I want to talk about. We'll bring out a bit of that is Koiki Saito. So this is the Kingler. I mean, he really was great. Oh, it still is. I mean, but it's a very cartoon style, very clean cartoon style. Excellent, excellent artist. Hasn't done a lot of cards recently, which is, I don't know whether that's his choice. I guess it's his choice. They wouldn't choose not to be commissioning him. Here he is again, doing the Charmeleon. It's just lovely. Lovely art. And then you've got Ken Sugimori down here doing Haunter. I mean, in this instance, this holo does lift this rather boring card into something more dramatic. It's nice. Just have a little look at a Kamiya here. Give him a chance. A very typical piece of Kamiya artwork. I'm not a fan of this whole school of naive and primitivism, but a lot of people are. He has a lot of very engaged fans who love this one. So there we go. So that is that page. What do I want to look at on this page? Well, I love this Fukuda Persian. Just a great piece of artwork. Really nice. We've got an Umamoto Raticate here. I like this down here. And you've got this very shiny looking Polywhirl. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be shiny, but it looks shiny to my eyes. By Ken Sugimori. Yeah, there's a bit of Kimura here. There's some Mitsuhiro Arita on this page, so bear with me. Get this one out. There we are. Now, obviously, my favourite artist, if you've seen any of my videos, I will talk about Mitsuhiro Arita a lot because he is my #1 artist. It's the War Turtle. I've always felt the face is a little distorted and flattened, but it's a beautiful card. The background is just lovely. The atmosphere, the determination in War Turtle's face, I like it a lot. Both these Bulbasaurs, very nice. This one is by Kusajima and this one's by Nishida. And we've got another Arita here with the Clefairy. Very cute little card here. Oh, it's in double plastic, so there you go. Sitting on a stump. Very cute. I like that one a lot. And over here, got Kusajima doing the Diglett. Again, very graphic cartoon style. Like that a lot. I like Umamoto's work here. I've got Koki Saito again, etc. So, and the very nice Meowth by Fukuda, which looks like that without the holo. So there we go. And is there anything else I wish to see on before we go for the big banger cards? Oh yeah, obviously. I can't go throughout the set without mentioning the most memorable card from the whole set, I think. Not just for me as a fan of Arita, but it's got that. Looks like the cover of Nirvana's Nevermind album with the baby swimming underwater. But it's a very memorable Squirtle card. A lot of people like this card very much. And quite right. It's just brilliant artwork. Arita is very good at anything, but underwater he's especially good. So that is that. So I don't think there's anything else I particularly want to look at in those. We'll go on to the EXs. So hang on a sec, before we do that, just check. No, I don't want to. Nope, we'll go on to the EXs. So the first EX was Blastoise. Now Blastoise is by Hikaru Koike. It's very dark. I'm not going to get it out of the shell case. I like it enough. I'm not a fan of EXs generally, but I think this is actually quite dramatic looking. Nice card. This one is the most valuable card in the set. I don't actually like it very much. We'll get it out of the plastic and see what state it's in after all these years. how many years is this? 21-year-old card. So let me just check let's bring this in, try and get the lighting just right so we can look for those dreaded scratches, if there are any. Get rid of that. We don't need a hair in the binder. Okay, it's Charizard. That's why it's popular. But as a piece of artwork, I just don't get it. It's just this huge head and little tiny body. There's a lot of red fire and stuff. But what are the edges, corners like? Let's have a look at the back. It seems okay, I think. I don't know. Looking back on the, I'll look back on the monitor after I've filmed this video and see whether I can see anything that I'm. But do I really want to see? I probably don't want to see a scratch. If there's a scratch, I'd rather be blissfully unaware of it. I mean, I'm never going to sell these cards in my lifetime. It's the sort of card that I really ought to get graded, I guess, just to protect it, maybe. I don't know. But I'm certainly not sending stuff off to America like this. If PSA opened a concession or whatever, a grading place in the UK, I might. But it's not a priority. So for now, it lives in 3 layers of plastic and then put away somewhere safe. Oh, that's that one. The next one is, I've got the Japanese one here as well, is Arita doing Clefable. Really like that. Like the Nidoking, having standing on the bottom of the frame. Yeah, it's a lovely card. Even though it's CGI or whatever. I prefer Arita's hand-painted stuff, or what looks like hand-painted. I really don't know these days what is created on a tablet rather than actually on a piece of paper. But that's very nice. I like that one a lot. Next up we have the Electrode by Ryo Ueda, and I think that's great as well. Really, really memorable card. Another Arita card, very popular card. This is the Gengar. I like this one very much as well. Even though I feel Arita has done a better Gengar in Platinum Arceus. But this is a very, it's a memorable card. Hopefully not too damaged. I always dread looking at these in case I find something I wasn't aware of. But there we are. If it's the state of it, it's the state of it. If it's got a ding or whatever, it's got a ding. But I try to keep them in good condition. Seems okay to me, to my eyes. Nice card. And Gengar is just ridiculously popular. And I think that card's probably expensive to replace. I don't want to ever have to do that. I don't have it in Japanese. I don't have this in Japanese. And that's really sad because it's a hole in my Arita collection. Anyway, moving on, we've got Hikaru Koike doing Gyarados. I don't actually like this very much. Looks boss-eyed. It's quite dramatic, but it's not a particularly strong card for me. These two certainly are not. We had a pair of Mr. Mimes. I don't like Mr. Mime generally, but I think these are why they did both. So they've got magic odds and magic evens. A novelty that I really didn't warm to there. Then we've got the Venusaur. Now the Venusaur I think is the strongest of the 3 starter final evolutions, artwork-wise. I mean, I quite like the Blastoise, but I think this is quite successful here. And this is by Ueda again. Yeah, it's a very dramatic card. Do we dare? Yeah, let's have a look at the state of it. It's pretty good. I don't see anything at the moment. Yeah, I think that's... yeah, they're in pretty good condition. But I mean, I've respected these cards ever since I got them 21 years ago. So I've always kept them in sleeves and plastic and binders, etc. Top loaders, whatever's needed. So that's the end of the main EXs there. There was this box topper here, which was just a stock art Ken Sugimori Charmander. I've got several copies of this. It's a nice enough card, but it came in the top of every box, every booster box you bought. So it's not particularly rare or anything, but it's a nice card, you know. And it's the hollow foil is Cosmos rather than the reverse energy symbols here. So, nice. And then we had these 3 secret rares, which are the legendary birds done in a cracked ice across the whole card. And I'm not a particular fan of any of the artworks here. I mean, these are interesting cards. They're all by Ryo Ueda. I just don't... I sometimes like the artwork by Ueda, sometimes I don't. These just feel blocky and not particularly strong illustrations. Of the 3, I think Zapdos is probably the one I like the most. And we'll have a look at what cracked ice looks like out of the plastic. Bear with me while I fish it out. It's a little touch of dust there somehow. Maybe I'll put a fresh sleeve on this one. So, there we go. So that is what they look like with the cracked ice finish over the top. It's quite a dramatic card. I don't think there'd been any cards in any of the sets up to this point. I may be wrong, so don't quote me on that, but I don't think there had been any cracked ice finish cards up before this. There might have been in, you know, as promos or something, I don't know. But, yeah, pretty clean copy, I hope. It's very difficult to tell with, you know, with the cracked ice whether there's print lines or whatever. But I think that's a nice looking example of a cracked ice hollow. So there we go. That is my redone or revisit to FireRed LeafGreen. Hopefully a little bit better than my previous one. But it is what it is. I just needed to make a video today to distract my mind, so this was what I chose to do. Hope somebody enjoyed it. Otherwise, I don't know what my next video. I haven't got anything. Lined up. I'm desperate trying to find some of the cards from Glory of Team Rocket, because I'm not buying a booster box at these ridiculous prices. So I'm just trying to buy singles, and I've pre-ordered, or I've ordered copies of most of the important ones, most of the important expensive ones from Japan. But it's the commons and uncommons that, you know, I'm hoping somebody has bulk to sell, or one of the stores will just have some, you know, commons for 10p somewhere, or I don't know what. But there are so many of the cards in that set that I need to get for my artist collection, and I can't get them at the moment. I've got to be patient, because I'm sure in a week or two they'll be all over the place. People want to be getting rid of their bulk, and I'm prepared to pay whatever market price for it. So there you go. That's today's video.